Alright, so we've come back up to our monitor and it's almost through with its 10-minute equilibrating stage. So the next thing we're going to see is ready to calibrate. Once we see that, then we're ready to break the ampules and proceed with this calibration. So, if you're following along with the colored manual that we provide, it says to bring the sensor holder down like this. We'll start by pressing the star key. Break open the cal ampule and press star. Now, one trick that I've learned, and several times that I've done this, is to clamp this on up here. I like to do that. Now, you won't find that in your book, but at least that keeps it out of the way and keeps it from falling off onto the floor. What we're going to do is we're going to break open one of these cal ampules. You have two, just for the purposes if we have to do this over again. For example, if we got air in the sensor the first time, we'd go through the 10-minute wait period again, and we'd try the second ampule. Now, we always tell you to call us after you've tried both ampules. We have a 24-hour support line that's labeled on the top of every printer. Call that at any time, talk to the paging operator, and that will page one of our clinical people to help you. Now, you've told it to break open the cal ampule. We'll go ahead and do that. Either one of these ampules can be broken. The top is just broken off like that. We just want to push it to the side. Now we'll hit star down here, and that tells the machine that we've broken open the cal ampule. The next thing you're going to see is put tip into the ampule and then press sample. This part's very important. You're going to take the blunt needle and you're going to drop it down into this vial, which is within this plastic covering. So once you get that down in the very bottom of the vial, it's very important after you press this sample button to not let this line kink and to keep this blunt needle down in the bottom, because it's going to suck this fluid out almost to the bottom. And the last thing we want is it to suck air up into this sensor, because that's what we've been trying to avoid all along. So we're going to hit the sample button, and the machine says performing cal A. This cal A is performing a cal with the fluid that we hung and we mixed with a sodium bicarbonate heparin. When it performs cal B, that's when it takes this fluid from the ampule and uses that. So what we're seeing now is it says sampling cal ampule, keep the tip in the liquid. So again, keep it in the bottom of this vial and keep this line very straight so we don't get any kinks. And you can actually see the fluid being drawn down out of the vial. Now once it's taken as much as it needs, then it says remove tip, hang bag, then press the star. So that's what we're going to do. We can unclamp our sensor holder and hang it back up. And then we've got about a minute and a half before it tells us whether our cal was successful or not. What you want to do is probably hang out by the monitor until this says cal successful. Then it's going to go through another wait period of about 7 minutes. Now if you see cal successful, you can go ahead and leave the monitor and let it just continue its wait period. What it's going to do is go into a mode called standby, and it can wait in that standby mode up to 24 hours before you have to at least change the bag. So if you have a patient that you know will be delivered or will need the monitor up to 24 hours in advance, you can go ahead and go through this process, set the monitor up, and have it ready for when the patient's ready for it. And we've got about 10 more seconds before we see if the cal was successful. And it was. So had we have seen cal error at this section, 99% of the time it's error in that sensor. So something we did along this process, whether it be priming the initial infusion set or kinking off the line, not putting it all the way into the cal ampule, one of those things caused it to suck air into the sensor and you would see a cal error. Now had you seen that, remember we've got that second ampule. So you could take the sensor out of the holder, it's going to say replace sensor. Go ahead and don't replace the sensor, leave that same sensor in, go through the 10-minute wait period again, and then use the second ampule to go through your Cal B calibration. So now you see the monitor's ready in about 6 minutes and 49 seconds. So we'll come back to it when it's gone into standby mode.